What is going on, everyone? It's the Platform Sports Talk Show, your Wednesday night sports delight. And yes, do not be alarmed. It's just me tonight. I know, I'm sorry, y'all, but the guys have important things to take care of tonight, so it'll be just yours truly. But I am not alone, but we're gonna still have a great show. So right now, I need everyone to go ahead and go on your devices. If you're on Facebook, thank you very much. Hit that share button. Let's start a watch party right now. If you're on Twitter, hit that like and retweet. If you're on YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure y'all subscribe. Click on that bell because anytime you go live, just like we are right now, you will be notified. Go ahead and share that link as I speak. It's been so far a fast week already as we get into this Wednesday. A lot of good things are starting to possibly happen in regards to sports. You recently had this past weekend some golf being played. NASCAR came back. They were playing soccer, the original football out there in the overseas. Of course, no fans in the stands, but they still played the game. So throughout the show, let me know how y'all felt about if you did see any of those events. Let me know how you felt about seeing sports back like wrestling without any fans in the stands. I know it's gonna be pretty incredible. Or our guest tonight is already giggling, so I can't wait to get her input in it. But once again, tonight is just yours truly. So keep them comments coming. Don't be shy. Let's go ahead and have some fun. Let me sure I go ahead and do a small little update here. One moment. Make sure that I'm showing on this feed here. Let's see. Let me do another watch party here. I gotta make sure everybody is tuned in here. We'll start a new one. My bad, y'all. Get everything right. Start a new watch party so we can get more people to tune in. The platform. Let's see. There we go. Sorry, everyone. Get back into the flow very soon. Once again, go ahead and share. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's see. All right, there we go. Let's try this again. All right. And I guess you may have to do the same thing and do another share from my page, just in case. So go ahead and get that together. So once again, I hope y'all y'all having a wonderful Wednesday. Had a little difficulties with the app, so that's why I couldn't start right on time. So I apologize, but getting everything back in motion for a nice smooth show, no pun intended. Later on this evening, we will have Joe. She just recently celebrated her birthday a couple of days ago, so look forward to speaking with her in regards to Joe Knows. Tonight, man, it's ladies' night pretty much, and definitely look forward to it. Let's see here. Let's go to this here, and once again, B Baker, Stan, they're not here tonight. Hopefully, they'll be back next week. Hope all is well with them, and keep on getting this thing going. So, in regards to the roundtable, go ahead and start that right now. Once again, sports is slowly starting to open up. What are your thoughts in regards to seeing Korean League baseball being played right now with no fans? Or if you do see fans, you're seeing some kind of mannequins out there. It's pretty weird right now. This may be that moment where it's gonna be a lot different for quite some time. The NBA, as of today, they are stating that it's very possible that all games could be going down in Orlando. So that'll be the hub for all future NBA games to end out the regular season and the playoffs. They're hoping to have some type of agreement maybe in June. They're working on getting a lot of the teams to come together. If you have players who, let's say, like if LeBron wasn't in LA and he's in Miami or whatever, they want to get these guys to come back to their respective home teams and start getting together possibly I know some gyms have opened up for a certain team, like practice facilities have opened up, so they can slowly start getting back into shape, getting ready. So hopefully we'll start having some basketball very soon. Once again, in regards to golf, in regards to soccer overseas and NASCAR, they had a few games over the weekend. Let me know your thoughts about that. No crowd. It's gonna be different. And I came ready to talk to Joe about baseball, how it's gonna feel maybe having baseball back in St. Louis or in your respective team's hometown, or maybe at a hub. We'll see. Same thing with hockey. They're talking about having maybe 2 or 3 different hubs. St. Louis possibly could be one of those hubs as well. It is going to be so different looking at sports right now. But once again, just let me know about your thoughts in regards to everything. Do you feel that sports is going to be the same without having no fans? I know B Baker last week said he finally saw a little bit of wrestling and saw how it was no fans. He thought it was kind of, I know they always say wrestling is fake, but it looked even worse because there was no fans. So it's gonna be very interesting, y'all. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know there's no sports, but y'all tuning into this show, and you'll surely hold things down tonight by himself. But so much talk about still. We had the last dance. We had all 10 episodes show, and it happened so fast. And I look forward to having that conversation with our guest as well. So make sure I get to my notes here. I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. Make sure I cover everything. So it was very possible that after everything that went down over a month ago, that the XFL could be coming back. Vince McMahon, he doesn't own the XFL. It was sold to someone else, but he was pretty much just in control of it. He's possibly in the works of buying the XFL. And as of last night, they said that the XFL has already reached out to Seattle and St. Louis to renew their lease so the XFL can remain in those respective cities. Could be the same for other spots as well. Let me know your thoughts about that. Maybe the Battlehawks aren't done. Maybe we can still hear some more cuckoos in the next few months or in a year. So we thought that maybe it was a wrap, but it's very possible that the XFL could be back. Let me know about your thoughts on that. Once again, Miss McMahon will be owning the XFL and not just running it. So that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, he has the money, so it's not like it would be hard for him. It's just a matter of making that happen. Other day, the Stan Kroenke and the Rams, they reached out to the NFL owners to get approval for a $500 million loan from all the other owners in the NFL due to the stadium, the SoFi Stadium being built. They had plans on trying to maybe be built for 2 point something billion, and it already shot up to almost $5 billion. And they're needing money because now you're worrying about not getting butts in the seats, not getting those PSL sold. And so fans, if you are the normal fan, why would you want to try to pay in advance for seats that may not actually be available because of this pandemic? And so it's really putting Cronky in a tight squeeze. And maybe that's karma because of what he did to St. Louis, how he treated things here, how things could have been better handled here. But the owners still approved the $500 million loan in which it will be paid back within a 20 to 30-year span. So by the time that loan is getting paid back, more than likely Crockett already being 70, almost 80 years old, he won't be alive to give it back. But he put in that request and got it approved. So we'll see about that. And then last but not least, after they had the last dance, there was an interview on Uninterrupted, which is by LeBron James, and he was talking to the host, and they were asking about his football, and if he wanted to play professional football. And during that time, in which there was that lockout back in, I think it was the year after the the Heat lost to the Mavericks, and they had that lockout for quite some time. LeBron was saying that he was working out harder, doing extra exercises to get him ready, not just for basketball, but for football. And Maverick Carter said that Jerry Jones actually had a contract already made out for LeBron, of course, to go to the Cowboys. So LeBron being what 6'8", 6'9", being a beast on the court, you know how he is. Period. What were y'all thoughts if he would have played football? What position do you think he would play? I think he would have been a tight end like Gronk, probably more explosive. But they are saying that he has some incredible hands. So just think if LeBron would have went on to play football, how would that would have turned out? Would have been crazy. Well, I would look forward to it. Be pretty interesting to see what he would do. But that's not going to happen now because he came back to playing basketball, and the rest is history. So, with that being said, that is it about for the round table. Now it's time to have some fun, going one on one. This woman here, uh, we've we've kind of met years ago, but like I said, it's been years ago. This is when I was actually DJing an event at I believe Fountain University where the Archangels women's I believe what is it semi? Yeah, semi-pro basketball league, and it was coached at the time by Coach Adriel, or I call him Jason Betts. And I had a fun time. They were doing their thing, and at that time, she was, I believe, the president, in which she'll explain more very soon of that organization. And I was just browsing through Facebook, and I saw her on there, and I'm like, you know what? That would be pretty awesome to have her as a guest. So, without any further ado, look forward to seeing her rep for the ladies as we discuss women and their love of basketball and just sports overall. So, without any further ado, everyone, please show some love to Miss Misha Morrow. How you doing?
I am well, Fred. Thank you for having me. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, and thanks so much for being part of the show.
Awesome.
What's been going on with you?
Man, just chilling, enjoying the rest
Literally.
period. Chilling, enjoying the rest period, and as well as regrouping on my next basketball venture.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So let's go ahead and get right into it, right into the nitty gritty. Going, we're gonna take it all the way back to when you was a young one, and you start seeing sports on TV or sports all around you, maybe within the household. How did you get your love? Where did your love for sports come from?
Well, when we were younger, and I'm sure I'm older than you are, but
I don't know. I don't know. I may get you. No.
we were in the streets, we were in the streets, and I grew up around a lot of guys, and we were playing basketball, we were racing, we were doing all these things. There was a little, I guess, YMCA in the neighborhood, and we go down to the neighborhood and play basketball. There was like a little community center behind my house, and I took karate there, so it was just the love of being outside and being active, and doing some of the things that the kids in my neighborhood was doing, and so I just kind of took to basketball, and I never stopped playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was basketball your very first love that just caught your attention, or was it a different?
Absolutely, it definitely was. I just enjoyed playing it, and I enjoyed playing against the guys because, of course, there wasn't that many girls playing basketball when I was growing up, and so if I wanted to play, I had to play against the guys, and if I wanted to play with the guys, then I had better learn how to play in order to get picked on the team to play with the guys. Yeah.
So getting into playing basketball, going to high school. What school did you go to?
Well, I went to Rock Junior High School in East St. Louis, Illinois, and then I attended Lincoln Senior High School, home of the Tigerettes, the city of the champions, and
Uh-oh.
the
City
high
of
school of
Champions.
the champions. That's right. That's right. So that's where I spent my high school career as a Tigerette.
East Saint.
East St. Louis. That's right. East Side for sure.
All right. And so, what sports did you play while at East Saint?
At Lincoln, I played volleyball, basketball, and I ran track. So I was a three-sport athlete.
How important is it to you for the youth now to not just focus on one sport?
Um, I think that it is very advantageous for youth to play multiple sports. And the reason I think that is because each sport has its own particular focus, and you learn a set of skills from that sport that can transfer into the sport that you love. So, like for instance, volleyball is a lot of jumping, right? I was a great spiker. It worked on my hops. You know, I was able to jump higher and higher because I played that sport. Track is about stamina and grit, right? And determination. And then I high jumped in high school. So again, that worked on my jumping. So I think for me, I love the concept of being a multiple sport athlete because you get, first of all, you get a different set of skill development, and you get a different strategy for each sport. And then you also develop a different community in each sport because not every kid plays the same sport. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
you develop a different family connection with each sport. So
I definitely feel that. Once again, the platform Sports Talk Show tonight is yours truly, along with our special guest. Go ahead, Lily.
Misha
There
Morrow.
we go. There we go. She has a great story to tell. She is, when I saw what she does for the community, she's very big in regards to what she brings to the community and for the ladies. So I definitely appreciate you once again coming to the show and definitely get digging in more and having a good time with you. Once again, everyone, share, share, share. Bring them comments and questions if you have them, and let's have a good time. So, um, basketball. What position did you play in high school?
In high school, I started off in guard. I was fortunate enough to play on the team we were the number one team in the country. And so we had a 6'2" forward and a 6'3" center. And, so I had, I was off guard, but once they graduated, then I moved to the center position.
Wow. So, so,
Because
so
I
it
was
came
the
from
top.
guard to
Right.
kind of like Magic Johnson
Right.
a little bit, huh?
Right. That versatility kicked in, right?
Right,
So,
right.
so play off guard, two guard, three guard. With every now and then play a little bit of point guard. But when I became a senior, I became the center of my high school team, all at 5'8".
Nice, nice. So, how did it feel playing center doing that during
I
that time?
loved it because we had some wonderful coaches, some great coaches, and they trained us to be like tigers for real. And so I love the challenge. I love the thrill. I love playing against taller opponents because I felt like that they took their height for advantage. But I took my heart for advantage. So I was like, you bring your height, I'll bring my heart, and let's see which one wins. And so I often looked at those matchups, and I was like, bring it, let's get to it.
So, who was that person or people that was pushing you along the way in regards to sports in general back in high school?
It was my coaches. Our coaches demanded excellence from us. They were great coaches to teach us the fundamentals of the game, how to play the game. And they would not allow us to settle for anything less than our best. And so that push is what made me the athlete that I became. Yeah.
And what about at the household? Was there anyone that pushed you?
I was raised in a single parent household. My mom expected that whatever I did well. She wasn't really into sports. My mom did not get a high school education until she was 40 something years old when she finished her GED. So she wasn't in that world. her parents were slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So,
right.
so she really didn't understand or really didn't come from that world. So she didn't push me. She just knew that I loved it, but she supported and she encouraged me, and and she just expected me to do my best. And so that's all I went forth to do was to do my best at whatever I got involved in.
Did Jackie join her courtesy go to?
Lincoln Tigerette.
There we go.
Yes,
There we
sir.
go.
Yes, sir. 2 years before me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's amazing to be able to try to follow in her footsteps.
No, she was, she was a superior athlete,
Sure
right? She
was.
was a
Amazing.
superior, right? Yeah. She would come back home sometimes during the holiday breaks and come to practice, and we practice against her and
Nice.
some of the other Tigerettes that had gone, because that's how they built the family. So the Tigerettes would come back home during holiday seasons and get on the court and we'd scrimmage. So we'd have an opportunity to play against those Tigerettes who set the bar extremely high, and bring that college game back to us and just uh, show us what it was like, what the college game was like, what we had to look forward to when we got there. And so, they didn't take any mercy. They brought it,
Right.
and we had to fight and scrap and,
Right.
and try to do what our coaches demanded of us to do. So that was great.
So knowing that she came, just tell us the first time that she attended a practice. What was just your initial thought?
We all knew who Jackie was, you know what I'm saying? And so we were like, man, that's Jackie. That's so cool. You know what I'm saying? It's so cool to be playing with an athlete of that caliber. But, it wasn't like ooh and ah, because like I said, the culture of Lincoln was that the alums always came back, so it wasn't like all of a sudden we're starstruck because,
Right.
this star just walked in. No, they came back all the time,
Right.
and they would come to the gym and they would come to the coaches. So it wasn't a irregularity for us. And I love that about how our coaches built a great family unit so that we were always supporting each other, you know what I'm saying, and coming
Right.
back and giving back and having talks and encouraging the players that come, behind us. So it was good.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And LeBron James and his film crew did a story on East St. Louis football team last year, and pretty much depicted about the everyday life of being an East St. Flyer, living in that community.
Sure.
So, what was your experience like being in that community during those times?
Man, it was peaceful. It was just like any other community. I tell people all the time, I don't care what city you live in or county you live in, there are good and bad in every location. And so I grew up peaceful. We had a tight family unit. We in school there wasn't really any fights, and if they did fight, they were friends the next day. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have drama or trauma or any of those things growing up. The kids in the neighborhood got together. We played. We would play one block and the other block. We would just kind of have tournaments. Your
Right.
block against my block.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And we would play softball games. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So ride my bike across the city without any fear to go visit my friends. So playing on the schoolyards, playing basketball, playing stickball, playing street flag
Stick
football,
ball.
right?
Wow. Man, the good old days, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I grew up.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. So now, as we leave from high school, what college did you attend?
I am a Jayhawk, man. I am Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Go
What?
KU.
Wow, my,
That's
my,
right.
my cousin Rick, he lives in Chicago. He's a huge Jayhawk fan.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Nothing
yeah,
like
he
it.
would love you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Rock Chalk, baby. Go KU. Absolutely. That is
Wow.
the mecca of basketball,
The
right?
Mecca.
The mecca of basketball. You got to play in the Fog Allen House for sure. Yeah.
One of the original Blue Bloods right there.
Yeah, well, KU blue blood, not Kentucky blue blood. Crimson and blue. Crimson and blue.
How does it feel when people like to get that mixed up with the KU and UK?
We always correct her. The crimson and blue is
get it
different.
right.
That's right.
Get it right.
Get it right. That's right. Don't get it twisted. We are crimson and blue, man. Yeah.
So I take it, was that off of a scholarship from basketball?
Absolutely. I was blessed to get a full ride to the University of
Nice.
Kansas. Played under the legendary Marion Washington, who's a Hall of Fame coach, and came in into that structure and up under her tutelage and learned and grew so much and appreciated the opportunity, and appreciated how she built the team and how she ran the team. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Really thankful for that experience. Yeah.
And during that time in which those years you played, and we know for the men, the games would be packed, sold out,
Sure,
crazy.
sure.
What about during the time for the ladies?
Well, we didn't have that many fans. There wasn't that much support for the women's game, and that was one of the struggles that the coaching staff and the administrators and our support systems were always trying to generate, fan support. So, you talked about not playing in front of fans. Well, that's how I grew up in college, right? We didn't have that many fans. So it would kind of be like what we would see now,
Right,
where there's
right.
not, really any fans in the stands. So it would be a rare occasion where we would play and there would be a ton of fans in the stands and but other than that, it wasn't that many people there.
Toughest opponent that you faced during your college years?
The toughest opponent that I faced was the University of Georgia. No, I'm sorry, not the University of Georgia, but Louisiana Tech.
Okay.
Louisiana Tech, my senior year, featured Teresa Witherspoon.
Ooh.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because she went to the Sparks, right?
She went to, no, did she go to Sparks? No. Was it the Sparks?
Yeah.
Did Witherspoon go to Sparks?
She was the one that always had the braids, right?
Yeah.
She was a light skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can't remember what school. I'm sorry. Not what school. What pro
Yep,
team
here
she
we
went
go.
for? Was it?
I'm sorry, the Spark, the Liberty.
Yeah. Okay. I
There we
was saying I
go.
didn't think she went to the Sparks. Okay. Yeah. And so she was the toughest thing on two wheels
Man.
as a point guard that I ever seen in my life. And then they had like two twins that I think were like 6'7" or something like that. So that was the toughest opponent that we had ever seen because you had a point guard that was skilled, that was strong, that was savvy, just a great athlete, and that's calm under pressure. We our team strategy was to run and pressure teams, and make them turn the ball over, but. Spoon was just smooth,
Yeah.
She wasn't bothered by all that harassment,
Right.
And we were trained to harass you really, really well, because getting points off of turnovers and transition was part of our strategy. So Spoon was just cool and smooth as ice, man. She wasn't bothered, and she ran our offense, and they ran it to perfection.
Rivals during that time for KU.
The in-state rival against K-State, and the out-of-state rival was Mizzou. So those were our biggest ones. Oklahoma probably would have come in there at that time because it wasn't the Big 12 back then; it was the Big 8, right? So we had Oklahoma and Colorado, but Colorado was far away, so it wasn't really a rival. But those in-state and cross-state.
Had to be fun.
Oh yeah, we loved it. We dominated those series. So we talk much smack, especially Mizzou. Mizzou was the worst place to play it because Mizzou's fans sat right on the court and talking about your mama.
And I used to love how they made stadiums like that or arenas in which they would have them pretty much over you. I used to love that. Now they got so spaced out.
Yeah.
So it's not as intimate as it used
Yeah.
to be. Maybe Duke still is, but back then you had them right over your head.
Yeah, the fans were not far from us, so every Mama Joan joke that they could think of.
And I can imagine how it can be possibly worse being a woman.
Oh
right?
yeah, I know they sat there to harass you intentionally. So
Yeah.
it was a pleasure for us to beat that head in
Oh
really
yeah.
well,
We
because
got the last mile. MIZ what?
right. What'd you say about my mama? Welcome, take
There
that,
you go.
So yeah, that's how we channel that negative energy, right? We just put it right through the hoop and like, put that in your face and take that on home with you and see how that works for
Man,
you,
I love it.
So yeah,
I love it.
that was probably the most hostile environment that we play in, and
Mm.
we look forward to it too.
And that was at the old Hearn Center.
Yeah,
Correct. Yep.
that's right.
The old
That's
Hearn
right.
Center.
That's right.
Uh, were you ever? Did someone ever get under your skin to the point where you had a technical, or y'all got into a little bit?
I don't think I ever got a technical, but I tell you what I did do. I was, my forte was defense and rebounding,
Okay.
right? Because that's heart and skill, right? So I was trained to do those things. So in rebounding, a lot of people would try to play dirty and elbow you and push you and all that. And I remember one game. And I told the refs, I was like, "Hey, can you get her off my back? She's been on my back all night long, And they said something to me, kind of like, whatever, play basketball. And I was like, okay, I came to you. I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you won't handle it, then I will. And so, there's a technique that you could do, and when you rebound, where you can bring the ball from over the top of your head and let your elbow fly up behind you at the same time, so that anybody that's riding your back can get that elbow right to the chin,
Right.
right, without you being flagrant. How about that?
Right.
A skill way to
Show 'em
just a
you know,
little,
a small little
just a-
message like, hey, just say no,
just a
I'm
little-
here. Don't keep on trying me.
just a little right there up under the chin, and that'll clear people right on off your back, And so, and then the referee's like, I was like, hey, but I told you to get them off my back, So those are the types of things that as a player, um, that you learn to do to manage the game when people wasn't interested in managing it properly. How about that?
Right. So in KU, what position were you?
I saw off 2, 3 guard, and then we had one of our point guards go down with a knee injury, and I wanted to play, so I learned how to play point guard at a D1 school.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so definitely, I get the feeling that, or the vibe from you, that being versatile is very
absolutely.
crucial.
That's how I got my playing time. Whatever you asked me to do, I was gonna learn and figure out. I was gonna do it, because I wanted to play. College basketball is unlike high school basketball. At college, everybody was recruited because they were the top players in their area. So all of the players are good. And then you have the players that were there before you got there. So you got to earn your spot, right? And so otherwise, you're sitting on that bench. Here I am, a starter in my high school basketball team, well accredited for the things that I was able to do. And I get to college and I'm riding the bench, right?
Right.
And I'm barely getting in. And so it is certainly a fight, and you have to earn your playing time. Nobody's gonna give you playing time, when you get to college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta earn that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, with so many people coming from different parts of the
Oh, they
nation,
come. That's right. All over the
being
country.
recruited, right? So
That's right.
when you first arrived, you like, wow, this is different than high school, and
Oh, absolutely.
now I'm in a whole different league with all this talent. What was your mindset going in first day to the time that you graduated?
It was to learn, right? Um, and to fight to play. You were, first of all, you coming in as a high schooler, and you are like so much weaker than the collegiate players because they've been in the weight
They've been
room.
there and
You know
done
what
it,
I'm
yeah.
saying? So you find out all of a sudden you were strong at the level that you played at, right?
Right.
When you get your little freshman butt in there, and you're probably a buck 20, wet, and they push you around, and that's legal in the collegiate game, right? They bump you and push you, and you go sailing like you're a kite, and you got to figure out, okay, how am I gonna play this game without getting pushed and bumped where I'm effective? And so, I learned early that okay, when you get in that weight room, you better get serious. And I wasn't serious about lifting weights. I'm like, oh, I'm a girl. I'm not trying to put on muscle like that. And I didn't understand that you could just tone up without bulking up and doing all that stuff. But when I got pushed around and I was flying like a kite, I was like, oh yeah,
Oh
this
yeah,
ain't gonna
it's
work.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when I got in the weight room, then I got serious, and I started lifting seriously and trying to max myself out and get stronger, so that I could be more physical because the collegiate game is a whole lot more physical than the high school game is.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you still have any connections or relationships with any of your previous teammates?
Absolutely. One thing that I am eternally grateful for is both at high school and at my collegiate level experience, we were family units. Um, I can talk to any one of my sisters, and it's like we hadn't missed a beat. You know what I'm saying? So those coaches did a phenomenal job at raising families, and that's what we were. We were family. We were a unit of families. And as a matter of fact, we have a Zoom conference call, our first one for our women's basketball players and our old coach on tomorrow. So that's
Nice.
going to be really, really cool. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, make sure you tell them to watch this show. Like, hey, I talked about y'all last night. Check it
Absolutely.
out. Check me out on the platform Sports Talk Show.
Absolutely.
So, once again, staying in college, when you start to the WNBA, will that start happening?
That's a long way off from when I
Okay,
got.
okay,
Yeah, it's a long way
okay.
off. Yeah.
So, when that started, what was your initial thoughts about the WNBA?
Well, I was excited. I remember finishing up as a senior and thinking to myself, man, I'm just getting better and better and better, but there is nowhere for me to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't interested in going overseas. So that wasn't an option for me. Overseas is not like it is where we're all open and all these communications. I was like, I'm not interested in that. So that was it. you know, you're at the height of your career. You are blossoming and mushrooming, and you just learning, and you ready to go and go to the next level. And there's no next level for you to go unless you want to go out of the country.
Right.
And there was just too many variables in that for me. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna start working.
Did you have any teammates that considered?
Um, I had some that considered. I don't know if anybody really, really went out of the country. I know years later, women semi-pro came to the forefront, and I know some of my teammates, played in the women's semi-pro league. But yeah, that going out of the country, it's no joke. Even this, till today, leaving the country, leaving your family and your friends, going
Right.
into a foreign environment, and if you don't know the language, if the language is not English, then
Oh
trying to play, and
Lord.
then can you imagine trying to somebody coaching you? You don't understand anything that they're saying, and so you just figure your job is get the ball and shoot it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. So it's a whole nother experience, and I just didn't have that confidence, and neither did I want to leave my mom either. Like I said, I was in a single parent home, so that wasn't an option for me in my mind. Yeah.
Was she able to check out a lot of your games in Kansas?
My mom was able to make one game. It was my senior year, and we were playing in the Big Eight Conference title championship, and her best friend drove her down, and she was able to see, and
That's
that was
nice.
yeah, that was a tremendous blessing. We were poor, man, so my mom, and couldn't get on the road and do all that, so it was a wonderful, wonderful thing that she was able to see one game. I was really, really thankful for
That's
that.
that's dope. So the movie Love and Basketball. I'm pretty sure you saw that movie.
Sure.
Did that movie portray or do a good job portraying college life?
Yeah, that college life is it can be a plethora of things, right? I think most things are what you make it, but certainly there is the competition, right? There's you coming in as a rookie trying to earn your spots, earn your respect from your teammates, earn that playing time on the court, showing that you should be there. You know what I'm saying? and certainly you got athletes from all over the country, and you got, relationships that develop, between men and women, and those things are real, and then athletes go back to where they come from, or they go pro, so you got all
Right.
those. I mean, yeah, all those are real, real things about what happens, on a collegiate campus,
So I've asked this to previous guests, women guests, should I say, who have played in professional league, well, semi-pro league, should I
Mm-hmm.
say, and just sports in general. But you know how for men, I'll say like for boxers,
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell that male boxer, hey, no sex, no anything, 24 hours prior to your match and
Yeah.
this and that. Did the coach have anything similar to that kind of rule for the ladies during your time in college?
We really didn't have those types of conversations, being, and probably that's more so for men, because men were more sexually active traditionally than women. We were young ladies coming out of somebody's household, and we weren't out there like that, so we didn't have those. Those weren't part of our locker room talks. If coach had to address somebody in regards to something that had, um, become so, public knowledge, then that was a one-on-one conversation she would have with that
Mm-hmm.
player. But in our locker rooms, we didn't talk about those things. We understood what we were there for, and we understood that, it was a business, and that if you wanted to stay there and you wanted to play, you better handle your business.
Was there a rule or something that would take place if one of the players got pregnant?
Um, no, all that's one-on-one. There was no, we didn't. If any of our players got pregnant, I ain't know nothing about it. Yeah, so that, like I said, it wasn't like we were running around, uh, like bunnies.
Literally.
We weren't running around like bunnies, and so, yeah, I think it's, well, certainly it's a different environment now, but, that we had a lot of self-respect for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We weren't. My teammates weren't really promiscuous. Now, whether some that was, active, I'm sure that there was some active players, but we weren't promiscuous players. You know what I'm saying? We were very, we wanted respect.
Right.
And then when you want somebody to respect you, then you carry yourself a certain way, and you demand respect. If not, then you don't, you get disrespected. And so, we want to respect. Our coaches demanded it, and, if there was something that got back in the wind to her, and it was, causing a problem for the university, and the opinions of our team, then we were going to have a conversation, or you were going to have a conversation with coach, and so then you needed to, clean your act up,
Right.
or you be on the first thing smoking, and that's just the reality of
Right.
the
Because they
situation.
don't, they don't have time to waste no scholarship.
No, 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 no. There are a million people that would love being in your position.
Yes.
You understand? And all it is us going out there and offering it. So is if this is serious for you, and if this is something that you want to do and you want to be involved of, and if it's an honor for you, right, then you'll treat it as such. Yeah. So we didn't. Yeah, that wasn't our issue, man. We didn't have stuff like that, like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did the team at the time when you first arrived welcome you in?
Oh, they were loving. They were loving, and they took you in like a little sister, and it's like, come on, let's show you the ropes.
Yeah.
And that was a blessing. I know that probably not every situation is like that, because it depends on the team goes as the head coach. If you have a head coach that's not family
Oh,
oriented,
it's gonna be
that
a lot of problems.
it becomes a nightmare for an incoming freshman kid that's 18. Even if she's 19, she's coming, leaving her home, she's coming into a totally cold environment,
Right.
and she doesn't know anybody, and that can be, a horrific experience
Right.
if they're not welcome, if they're not brought in, if they're not supported, if they're not encouraged, because they're trying to find their way. They don't know anybody. I left East St. Louis, Illinois to go to Lawrence, Kansas.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? And so that's a culture shock.
And
Right?
it should be enough motivation for you to know not to do wrong
Oh
because of
yeah,
where you
yeah.
come from and now where you at
Absolutely,
that time.
absolutely, absolutely. Fully recognized the opportunity that was before me. Understood 100% that I was there to get my education and was not going to be deterred from that from nobody. So that was the mission I was on. I understood I was poor.
Yeah, that's something else too. Right,
You understand?
right.
I understood that I was
And then
poor.
you ain't trying to go back home to mama.
I ain't trying to live poor.
Mm.
You understand? I ain't trying to live poor. I ain't trying to go back. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I'm here to handle my business. Yeah.
Favorite female athlete?
Favorite female athlete? I would have to say Jackie Joyner. She's a hometown girl. Um, Similar story, and just was a ferocious athlete. But on top of that, she had asthma.
Right.
I can't imagine being an athlete with
And running
asthma.
track and in every other sport too. And you have asthma.
Because if I can't breathe, Houston, we have a problem.
Woo.
So you have a world class athlete who has asthma, who has almost died on the track and keeps competing. Who does that?
didn't FloJo? What did she have back then?
I don't know. I don't know what she had.
It was something. I'm about to look that up. 'Cause as
Yeah.
soon as you brought the asthma, I'm like, I know FloJo. She died from something. I can't recall what it was.
Yeah, I don't know what she died from, but yeah. So I mean, yeah, you've run in track and you have problems breathing. I have a friend that has asthma. We're older women now. And I watched her have asthma attacks, and it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary when somebody can't breathe and you got to get the mask on them so they don't die. You know what I'm saying? And so you got a world class
Oh, here we
athlete.
go. I found it.
What
She
is?
died in her sleep as a result of an epileptic seizure in 1998
Yeah,
at the age of 38.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you got I can't imagine trying to run with asthma.
No,
No.
that's amazing. And yeah, I recall one of those Olympics in which like you really saw her. I think you saw like a pump and everything, inhaler, but still winning gold medals. Truly amazing.
Just yeah, that's another level of athlete. That's another level of athlete. Most of us as athletes, we don't have breathing problems. You understand?
Right. And then just off of that, and then being a woman alone, going through so many different things with your body. So with that being said, do you think this culture or even just overall in general, people just really don't appreciate what a woman goes through while they play sports?
It's hard for you to fathom what a woman goes through because if you're not sensitive to the female condition, then how could you fathom it?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If you're in a household and you're not sensitive to the females that's in your household, you wouldn't have a clue about what a female as an athlete, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Because you're not even sensitive to the females in your own household, most of the time men talk about women all that time, so you don't understand the physiological things that occur inside a woman's body, that triggers emotions and all these other things. And so for you, you feel like you're just a victim of the female experience. But being a female and competing with the physiological things that you deal with on top of being thought of as less than as an athlete, um, or that you're not worthy to be, even still today, right? There's inequities in pay,
Mm-hmm.
right, between the female
Right,
athlete
right.
and you have the male species even today saying that the female athlete is again is less than the male athlete, but we're playing the same sport. But because we're not playing it in our sport, basketball, above the rim, then we're
That's the big difference is that
we're less
they're
than.
not seeing it. But and that's where I have more respect for women who play basketball or sports in general. But since we talk about basketball right now, I told this to one of our shows a while back to one of the guys. Like, yeah, we know the men can just jump out the gym,
Sure,
etc.
absolutely.
But I feel like with the ladies, it requires so much more skill.
Absolutely. It's a pure sport
Right.
because it's not a high flying act, right? It's
Takes
not a
more to
right.
score.
It's not a trapeze act, right? So yeah. So when you play the game below the rim, you've got to play the game below the rim. You know what I'm saying? You've got to figure out how to the pureness of figuring out how to play the game. You know, and women as athletes are coming along. You know, we have women that are dunking now, but you know the game is below the rim, and it's an enjoyable experience when you see the beauty of basketball.
I asked you about a female athlete. What about female basketball player? Favorite one?
Uh,
Or if you want to name just a few that you followed to hone your skills, who did you follow a lot? Who inspired you in regards to once again women's basketball and once again all time favorite women's basketball player?
hmm. Oh man, I don't know if I ever really just singled out. Um,
Cause I think about instantly like Lisa Leslie's and then
she
and
was a great
the
basketball
Cheryl
player. Cheryl,
Millers.
yeah,
Oh, incredible!
you know, Swoops was a great.
Right.
You know that original comic scene,
She was my
The
favorite back in the day.
Houston. You know, um, those girls were
Cynthia
just
Cooper.
yeah, Coop.
Woo!
You
Tina
know,
Thompson.
Coop Thompson. You know, yeah,
Rebecca
they were
Lobo.
just yeah. They all were phenomenal athletes, and it was a joy to watch them play. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a single athlete, but it was a joy to watch them play the game because they were straight hooping, you know, and they were competitive. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like they stepped on the court, and you knew that when they stepped on the court, it was about it. You better bring your business because we're bringing it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was a beautiful thing to watch.
Exactly. Once again, the platform sports talk show tonight. It is yours truly, and we have special guests
Misha Morrow.
having a great time discussing women and sports. It's been a fun interview so far. Thank you once again for being part of the show. So, talked about a little bit the WNBA. What are your thoughts on how it's being ran now, and just the state of the game?
Well, they have grown. They just had contract renewals, and they had some wonderful addendums and additions to the contract. The women are being paid more. They have maternity leave. You know,
Right. Yeah. That you had to do that.
yeah, just
It shouldn't have took 20 years to get that together.
but because if you don't value a thing, I don't care what it is, whatever you want to call that thing, women's basketball, women's sports, if it's devalued, then you're not going to give the honor that's due it, right? And it took 20 years of these women fighting and scrapping and and sacrificing, and going and having to play in two professional leagues, having to go overseas and play where they made a ton more money,
Right.
and then come back home and pray for a fraction of what they made overseas.
Right.
So then you start having your top players like say, well, I'm not going to play in the WNBA this year. Then it starts to get the attention.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? We gotta
Like,
find something. We gotta.
right, yeah, because you're one of the faces of the league, and so when you say you're not going to play, and then you start having multiple players saying, well, I'm not going to play this year in the WNBA. They go over there and make $1 million, and they come over here and make 100,000.
Right.
And so if you don't value what you have, you'll always dishonor it. And so I'm just really thankful that the women were able to, after 20 years, step up. The league was able to pay the women and take care of the women like they should be.
We have a comment on YouTube. Shouts out to the St. Louis Trotters.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man?
A few months ago, we had Mylan Pepper
Yeah.
and Nico Reed on the show.
I ca-
Great episode.
Good, cool.
And
Yeah.
they're saying right now, "What's up, Smooth?" and "Hey, Micho."
Hey, how you guys doing?
There we go. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and comment right now on YouTube, on Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine. Let us know what's going on. Once again, this has been a great show. So yeah, so like you said, in regards to because and more likely it was a male that of course couldn't see your point of view, and that's why it took them so many years to even though it wasn't at the time the WNBA ran by a woman.
Well, the commissioner or the general overseer was female, but and I thought in the beginning, they were really hammering basketball. Then I think they kind of got away and started talking about other things that I'm thinking it's all about the sport. You got to keep the focus on the sport and grow the sport. And I don't know how much support or how much resources or how much anything a particular team gave towards the WNBA, their WNBA team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like, in a few markets like Houston, they had fans, Minnesota's always had a great fan base, so I don't know the focus of the marketing was such that to draw in the fan base. So they felt like people didn't want to see it because the fans weren't, waiting outside and lines are wrapped around the building. You know what I'm saying? So they wasn't generating the revenue. But I don't think that all of the resources or the focus was in place to generate a fan base to draw in the fans to appreciate the game. Sometimes I think they kind of got sidetracked by this, that, and the other. I'm like, but that's not the. We're here to play basketball.
Right.
All that other stuff, okay, whatever you trying to support and be and whatever, okay, but we're here to play basketball, and that's what's paying the bills and paying everybody. So if you want to grow the sport, then the focus needs to be on the game.
So with that being said, what do you feel is something that they need to do now to better market their product?
I think they're starting to do it. I think that there needs to be uh, more advertisement towards it. Um, there needs to be more endorsements for the women so that their faces, so you can begin to brand faces for the sports, like they do in the NBA. We
Right.
know the face of the league right now is Steph Curry, it's LeBron James. You understand? So you take those players and you brand them, and so you have to do the same thing, but the women don't have those many opportunities, as the men do. So there has to be a central focus to drive it, and I don't know, where the league stands right now and how much effort, energy, again, manpower, resources they're putting behind it. But it has to be a concentrated effort to drive it. And if you drive it, those saying if you build it, they'll come. You'll have people coming out support because I've never been in the gym and there's not been any fans in the stands. Like no fans in the stands or for any women's or girls game because they have mothers, daddies, uncles, aunts, father. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Grandparents that want to support them, friends. Yeah. So they want to come and support their loved ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally get that. All right. So with that being said, let's talk about archangels
Sure. Mhm.
and where did the name come from and how did everything get started?
Well, so here's the history of how everything got started. Um, I was one of the assistant coaches for Florissant Valley Community College under Coach Joe McKenna.
Valley.
Yeah, Flow Valley for 2 years. And my second year, Coach McKenna got a phone call, a voicemail, and there was this man, Randy Steinbaker, who was looking for a head coach for his new women's semi-pro team, the St. Louis Surge. And so my coach came and he said, "Hey, Misha, I got this phone call, and I think you should apply. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm good, man. I'm good right here. I'm enjoying, coaching these women, and I'm not trying to really do, anything. And he was like, I think you should apply. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, I'll think about it. And so I was like, okay, Lord, I'll apply. So I gave Randy a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he and I had several conversations, and he had a woman that a college coach that he was trying to recruit, but she wasn't really responding to him in the way that he was trying to. He felt that was going to give him a sense of commitment of what he was trying to do, and so that kind of fell through, and we kept talking, and he's like, okay, I like you, and I'll hire you. So I became the head coach of the St. Louis Surge under Randy Steinbaker's ownership. And I actually I loved it. It was wonderful coaching the women. I love the competition. I loved everything about it. We were in the Women's Blue Chip Basketball League,
Mm.
and but as the year went on, Randy and I didn't see eye to eye, and actually Randy was born blind,
Mm.
and he had a knowledge of the game, but he wanted me to coach the game the way he wanted me to coach the game, and I'm like, but you hired me to coach the game,
Right.
and so me being who I am, that's what I said. If you want to coach the game, then you need to coach the game or find somebody that's going to let you coach the game through them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that girl. If you hire me to coach the game, then I'm going to coach the game, and so that didn't sit well with him. So at the end of the year, he released me. And so I sat out that next year and I didn't do anything. And Randy had the current owner of the Surge right now is Kalia Collier, and she was a player the following year on the team, and I knew that Randy was going to have some challenges based upon his philosophy of how he was managing the team, and so he ended up selling the team to Kalia Collier halfway through that following year. And so she's a very good marketer, got on TV, got on the news, and one of my best friends saw her, and he called me up and he says, Misha, what are you gonna do about that semi basketball thing? And I was like, man, what you talking about? He was like, what are you gonna do about it? I was like, I'm not gonna do anything about it. I was like, man, they got no money,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm a substitute teacher, I don't have any money. So he was like, well, what does it cost? And he said, it can't cost that much. And I said, I don't know, but I ain't got no money. He says, so listen to me. He says, I am sure that if you told your family and friends that you wanted to buy into the league and told them what it would cost, that they would support you in it. And I said, hmm. I said, okay. So we got off the phone, and so I said, God, I hadn't talked to my friend in a long time. So for him to call me out of the blue and have that conversation with me, I gave it some credence. No, I would have blew it off,
Mm-hmm.
but he and I hadn't talked, and so I said, God, do you want me? If you want me to get into this thing, I said, then I'll do what he says. I'll investigate, find out how much it costs to get into the league, and then I'll send a message out to all my family and friends to say, hey, this is what I want to do. And I found out how much it cost, sent that message out, and people began to say, I'll donate this, I'll give this, and that's how I got started.
Mm.
Got started from family and friends investing in me to buy my own women's semi-pro team into the Women's Blue
Wow.
Chip Basketball League.
Nice.
Um, at the time, I was the head coach of McClure South Berkeley girls high school basketball. I was the head coach there, and my assistant coach uh, was uh, was helping me with the team formulating all the thoughts. And so um, he came back and he says, I got the name for the team, Misha. And I was like, what is it? And he says, Archangels. And when I heard it, I was like,
That's
you
it.
got it.
That's
I
it.
said, that's it right there, right? I said, that's it right there. We will be called the Archangels.
Nice.
And so that's how the name came about. That's how I got started in the year 2012. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how long were y'all playing in the league?
From 2012 to 2016, so five. That it was year five, and we just didn't have the financial support, and I wasn't able to sustain the team. So halfway through the year, year five, we folded.
Okay, so year number one, who was the head coach?
I was.
Okay, okay,
Year number one, I was it. I was the head coach, the owner, right? The baker, the bread
right,
maker,
doing it
right?
all. You had
The van
shoot, you
driver,
you
right?
you you had more legs than a.
That's the caterpillar, man. The marketer, right? Yeah, yeah.
Man.
But I was blessed, our church is really close, and we're a family unit. And so, as I began to tell people what I was doing and what I needed help with, people began to say, hey, I'll help you. So my church family, they took the tickets, they did concessions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They helped me with whatever it was that I needed help, which is how I call him Coach Jay, but Jason Betts, eventually became the head coach of the team. Is um, one of the parishioners of our church said, Misha, you need to step away from trying to be the head coach and be the owner. You need to step into the owner's box and find somebody to, coach the team so that you can manage. And that was hard for me because partly is I'm a control freak, and the other thing is that I wanted to coach. I love the challenge of coaching, and so I approached Jason and his wife, lovely wife Cassidy, and said, hey, because he was helping me as assistant coach,
Okay.
and
I'm sorry. And that was from the start. That he was helping you out as assistant coach.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna step into the owner's box fully, and I'm gonna ask you if you guys would be interested, in coaching a team, and because I trusted Jason, I knew that he was a new coach, but I felt like that there were some things that I could share with him to help him along the way. But I loved his hunger and his knowledge and his thirst and his competitiveness, and I knew that he had a wonderful heart. So in dealing with women as athletes, women have, unique challenges. A lot of women have been abused, misused, mishandled, and so for me as a female, I'm always protective, of that situation, and so I trusted Jason to be able to, you know, um, manage the team and to give them the care that they need, as well as be a good coach, work hard at coaching the team.
So, what was it? Well, tell us about that team or the teams down the that 4 year going to the fifth year stretch. What we thought about that team at the time?
The first team, it was all growing. You know what I'm saying? It was all a growing. We never won more than we lost. We always lost more than we won. That was frustrating for me, definitely. Um, but the growth, all the things that you learn, the competition, we watched the marketplace grow from, you know, the Surge to the Surge, the Archangels. Then there was the Illinois team. Randy bought into the market in Illinois, and then there was the Wentzville team. So we watched the market grow from one team to four teams. And the competition was stiff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was fun. Everybody felt like what they brought to the table, they were bringing it. And it was just good, a great learning experience. It was great to watch the women develop. It was great to watch the women bond. And it was just a wonderful time. And I'm just really, really thankful. But the teams, they kind of grew. But we never did get over the hump, and that was a challenge. We grew as an organization, but as a team, we never did get over the hump of the win loss. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to give any special shout outs to your previous players?
Hey, they all know who I am. I had players from all over the place. I had TJ, I got Jay in Mississippi. I had Chanel Ross. I got the the twins, Victoria, Veronica, a ton of players. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just a ton of players. Crystal Gundy, just players from all over. Players from Memphis. Just they came from everywhere. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I love them all the same, and they know that. And because I was always groomed in a family atmosphere, that's what I tried to create with all women.
And the time that I DJ'd that game, I think believe y'all was playing y'all home games at Fountain. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
did. We
Okay.
played at Fontbonne. We played at Webster University, and then we played at Harrisville. That's where we finished up. Yeah.
Got you. And yeah, we are pretty much playing teams around a certain region or all over the country.
Yeah, so it was Midwest region.
Okay.
So it's the St. Louis teams. There was the Kansas City team. There was a Chicago team, but that team folded. There was Iowa. There was Minnesota. Whew, that's the longest trip drive in the world. Good
Oh
Lord, that's a
man.
10-hour hit.
Woo.
Just a 10-hour ride one way. So we had Minnesota, um, Iowa, Kansas City, Chicago, and then, the teams here in the St. Louis marketplace. Yeah,
Got you.
yeah.
All right. Now let's get into the Archangels basketball training
Okay.
and development and events company. Please explain for those watching what is that about.
So, about the time, well, actually, before I started the women's semi-pro team, no, it's about the same time. I started doing one-on-one basketball training, so as a private skills development coach. And so I've been doing that for like 8 years, right? And so after I got out of the women's semi-pro business, I still wanted to um, use basketball as my platform to impact the lives of people, right? And so I love the skill development training. I love watching the kids, come to me with, no skills or undeveloped skills, or they're trying to accomplish a certain thing, and to train them and to help them get to where they were trying to go. And so as I began to, and I was also going back to school to get my graduate degree in sports management. And so during that process, I began to learn a lot. Like I began to learn how major 3-on-3 basketball was. Yeah, FIBA, right? FIBA is taking the 3-on-3 game to a whole nother
I
level.
saw.
Uh, FIBA has $1 million prize for 3-on-3 basketball players.
Y'all listen to that, right? Y'all listening, right?
$1 million, 4 players. That's 250 grand a piece. $1 million as a championship. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? I'm like, they have taken 3-on-3, our urban culture sport that we grew up playing, enjoying, having a great time, and they have turned it into a professional tournament situation.
And when I hear 3-on-3, I instantly think about hoop it up.
Hoop it up, right? Come downtown,
Yep.
right? Take
Oh, man, the whole
marketplace,
city
whole
came.
city, right?
Everybody came with bragging rights and everything.
Everything, all about the bragging rights,
Oh,
all
man.
about the
Fun
bragging rights.
times.
Also, I began to remember those things, and as I was researching and seeing what FIBA was doing, they were going all over the world. So these players came from all over the world, not just one little continent. I mean, all 7 continents, right, to compete for this $1 million prize. I'm like, oh my goodness! And then just I think it was last year. No, a couple of years ago, they were able to get 3-on-3 as an Olympic sport. So
Right.
it'll debut as an Olympic sport
Right.
in the next summer games. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching this development. And what I know about 3-on-3 as a player is that it is a wonderful training mechanism because you can't hide.
Right.
You got to play. It's only 3 players.
Right.
So you got to play. And not only do you have to play, but you have to learn how to play every position.
Right.
And you have to learn how to defend. You have to, 3-on-3 is a wonderful teacher of the game. And so I said, okay, this is great. This is a great marriage. So I am going to use the 3-on-3 model to provide tournament, league play, and use it as my training mechanism to train for small groups, right? And still do individual trainings and things like that. And that's kind of high development. I just in my research, I was looking at it, I was like, this is humongous. So we could begin to do the same thing here, to be able to get to the levels of Hoop It Up and greater, and do that and provide opportunities for our people to provide, because I want to put that same type of prize, you understand, for the adults, because we need, in our community, we need economic development,
Right.
right? And so basketball to me is my tool to help to be able to do that, to create opportunities for what if I'm able to create a $500,000 prize for adults in a 3-on-3 tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that Larry Hughes, he has his academy now. Once they get everything built, Bradley Bill will have a portion of the St. Louis Mills, in which you'll have,
Okay.
along with other big prominent names, will have a sports academy there in the Mills area as well. So it's just very important, as you said earlier, to be able to just build a foundation right there for our
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely. Like I would love to bring FIBA's, they call it their World Cup, just like soccer. We would love to bring that to St. Louis. And one of my research studies, when FIBA descended upon Spain in the 2012 Olympics, FIBA brought in over $30 million for that tournament, for the World Cup tournament, for that economy. That's a lot of money. So what happens if you bring in $30 million into North County?
Right. And think about it, how the Blues, they just built the Centene Center right there by Hollywood Amphitheater. I mean, by Hollywood Casino. And now that's going to open up opportunities for them to have world class tournaments going to that facility all the time. So it won't just be used just for the Blues. It's going to be used for youth to go there and do this. Then, like you said before, soccer is so big here. They have a lot of events. People are coming through. Golf.
Yeah,
So it's time to change to add more to it. Should I
absolutely.
say?
Well, I don't know, and the only reason I know this is because I was getting my degree. But youth sport is like a $15 billion market, not million. It's a $15 billion market. Sports in general is like off. It's the United States fourth. It's like third or fourth highest grossing domestic product. Sports. See, we're talking about real estate, auto industry. You know what I'm saying? So sports as a whole, it ain't number 10 on the GDP. It's number 3 or 4.
It's right there.
So and then youth sports is $14 billion. So once you begin to understand that that is the type of money in youth sports, then why would you not create youth sport development in soccer or track and field and basketball? Why would you not capture that market, knowing that type of money is in the marketplace for youth sports? That's crazy.
Right. It is.
But when you think about it, you go to my friends have two friends that play football, and we went to Indiana. And what you're talking about, they have a complex in Indiana, and they play 7-on-7 football. From the time that place opened up to the time that we left, jam packed, 7-on-7 football, whole family. So this is like family vacations. The babies, the grandparents, right? Everybody, right, is there supporting these kids in this 7-on-7 football. And then the arena was so massive. So you had the arena for football. You had like 10 baseball fields. You got soccer. You know what I'm saying? So so they recognize that this industry, right, is so massive. So they built a complex to keep these people. And then they built a hotel right next to it. And then there's a outlet mall. You know what I'm saying? So all of this built around the youth sport industry, right? Just amazing. So I'm like, oh yeah, so we can build it. Even now the WNBA has youth 3-on-3,
Right.
right? USA basketball is trying to build greatly in the 3-on-3 marketplace because now we have it as an Olympics. You know what I'm saying? So they've been big. They've been always big in the 3-on-3 market space because that's the partnership with them and FIBA. But so all these entities are coming together to take this urban culture sport that was just a fun pickup game and turn it into a major money making opportunity.
Nice. So with this development center, or excuse me, company, how can people reach out?
They can hit me up on Facebook, Archangels 3v3 basketball. They can inbox me there. That's the major place that they can hit me up. I'm on Instagram as well, Archangels 3v3. Haven't developed my YouTube page out yet, but in the works of that. But anybody who wants to reach me, they can go straight to Facebook and inbox me and say hey.
Say, hey, let's get this in because I mean, it's so much talent here. It,
There's a
it it it
ton.
truly is, and you have a lot of talent that's not even being used because they're not getting that push or there's not an outlet to let that go.
No, no, and there's not always St. Louis basketball has grown tremendously, no doubt. We see that in the players that's in the NBA. We see it in the amount of girls that's going to college to play the sport. So we are seeing growth unlike anything that we've seen before. But there still needs to be a pull, especially for girls in the younger age, to get them more interested in playing the
Right.
game. We still at high school levels don't have enough girls playing basketball. There are a ton of high school teams that their JV teams are just so scarce. Even in the private sector as well as in the public sector. There's just girls have to be introduced to the sport at a young age in order for them to love it because basketball is a technical skill sport. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like and that's not to downplay any other sport, but there are so many intricacies of the game, and if it's not introduced to them at an early age where they fall in love with it, then by the time they hit high school, they're like, I'm not doing that because it's too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's too much, and so the numbers are low. Even though we have more girls going off, the numbers are still low. And so we need to attract more girls to the sport, so that they can fall in love with it at an early age. Guys, that when they come out, when they get big enough they can bounce a ball, they bouncing the ball. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have number problems. If you go to any guys tryout in any school, you'll see there's more kids trying to get on that high school basketball team than they know what to do with, which is why they have to cut. Not so really in girls basketball.
With that being said, correct me if I'm wrong, but if more women did take basketball serious, that can be an actual faster pathway to getting to a higher level compared to men because you have so many men that's being looked, being recruited,
Hmm.
etc. But it's like how they say for the young black male, see about golf and tennis
Absolutely.
because that could be a
Your way.
faster track
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
not saying don't play basketball or anything, but
No.
don't just feel like basketball and football is the only way that you can get noticed and go further. But these other sports, bowling too,
Absolutely. They're bowling scholarships.
right? So being a female, take that route, that could actually get you a faster track than it will be for the male because you don't have as many
Not as
looking
much
out for
That's
you.
right.
So you have that faster track. So
Yeah.
so I really hope that y'all listen to this because this can really help you out in the long run
Yeah.
because this could be a faster track to getting where you want to be.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I want to do with the Archangels 3v3, besides just the competition part, but it is to expose the athlete to all the intricacies, all the parts, other parts of the game, journalism, writing, the cameraman, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
The commentator, all the officiating. Officials make over $100,000 a year officiating
Right.
basketball as a professional official. You can be a collegiate official, and if you grow, you go to a college game. If you get to D1 level, you're making $1,000. You're making thousands of dollars as a D1 official, as a part-time gig, going to a college and officiating for a few hours, getting in your car and going back home or flying back home, and you just made, a paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's month's paycheck,
Right.
in 1 3 hour setting.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you may not be a player on the game, but you may have the skin to be able to officiate the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so just like the one female that just made it to the professional ranks, she's from Missouri somewhere. I forget what small town here in Missouri area. But now she's a professional female making over $100,000 a year as an official.
Mm-hmm.
As an official, what happens when we train a high school player to referee lower level kids, and they're making $15-20 a game, not an hour a game, which usually equates to about an hour. But they as opposed to them working at a retail establishment making $7 and some change.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference, right? You referee 4 or 5 games in a day, you walk out with $80 or $100. How many hours did you have to put in to make $7 to get to that same amount of money? And that was just one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So there are so many opportunities that are unexposed to us because we are unaware of them, that I would love to begin to expose and say, hey, you may not be the player, you may not be the coach, you may not be the commentator, but you may be the film guy. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You may be the photographer. You may be whatever within the sports industry. And this may be your thing, and it keeps you in the love of the game that you've already played all your life, and allows you to be able to make a living
Yes.
at doing that.
Because there's plenty of money out there. It's never going to stop.
Well, there are so many avenues
Yes.
within. If, like I said, if sports as a whole is in our top 3 to 4 growth national products, then that means that the industry is humongous.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find your way and still stay in the game you love, because I think it's a major injustice that you start playing the sport at 5 years old, and when you finish with college, you're done. Most of the people are done
Mm-hmm.
because there's only 1% going off to be professionals, right? So
Right.
then you have just invested the last 17 years of your life into this industry, this profession. And then once you've reached here, they tell you, and the NCAA does it all the time, they put these commercials on the TV. 98% of our people will go be professionals in something else. And I'm like, that's such an injustice to me.
Right.
If I spent, you're not going to tell a doctor who invests 12 years of their life once they finish with their education, you know what, doc? There is no room for you in your profession. You should go be an electrician. This dude or female just invested 12 years of their life,
Right.
and you just
now you
told
want to
her
do something different.
now you're gonna do something different.
Right.
And this is the situation with the athlete, female or male, all the time. Is you just invested the last 17 years of your life into the sport, and now you're gonna go work at wherever.
Right. We have a comment from J Mac on YouTube. It says sports diversification is where it's at.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's what the people are. That's why that complex is being built, right?
Right.
Yeah, they recognize
Oh yeah.
it's a $15 billion industry.
Oh yeah.
At least and that was a few years ago. I don't know what it is now. Yeah.
Man, great conversation once again. Excuse me. So earlier you talked about how you hated not having the coach anymore when you was with the Archangels because you had so many different roles. But now you're back in high school.
Yeah.
And what are you doing now at Villa Duchesne?
I am the head coach of the Villa de Chine girls basketball program.
And how did that happen?
Oh man, I was minding my business. How about that?
Right.
So a very good friend of mine when I started refereeing basketball way back in the day by the name of Ray Blanc um, is in charge of hiring officials for the Catholic Youth Council, which is the CYC uh, um, league for basketball. And so at Villa, they have a lot of they're part of the CYC, and so Ray called me up and said, "Hey, Miss, you want to hustle some money and want to referee some games?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, Ray, whatever." And so he's like, "Okay, go out here to Villa de Chine, tell me how many games you want, And so I just started doing that, and so after doing that for a couple of years, the uh, the coordinator of the of Villa's youth sports came up to me and said, not this year, but the last year, he said, "Hey, Misha," he says, "What are you doing now?" I was like, "Oh, I ain't doing nothing." And he says, "Well, would you be interested in coaching? I might have something for you." I said, "Well, I don't know, I might."
Talk to me. Talk to me.
I was like, "I don't know, I might." He said, "Okay," he said, let me get back with you. So, man, I was just officiating little kids basketball.
Hmm.
I was just running up down the court officiating little kids basketball, and this guy saw something, and so he approached me and asked me about it, and then he called me up and he says, "Hey, we're in need of an assistant coach. We're trying to rebuild the program, and we'd like to talk to you about it. And I'm gonna tell my AD, about you." And so long story short, had a conversation with the AD and the head coach. We met and we talked, and they were asking me, well, how would you feel about being the assistant coach? I said, listen, I'll come and help you rebuild. I don't have a problem with that. I was like, basketball has been good to me, and I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, and I'll come and I'll help you. And it's like, okay, all right, great, and. And so during the process of time, they actually end up letting that coach go. And so then the AD was like, "Misha, we have the head coaching job open. Would you be interested?" I was like, "Well, absolutely."
Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Opportunity.
I was like, "Absolutely, I would be interested." And so, long story short, I became the head coach of Villa de Chine, and it has been an experience unlike anything that I've ever had before, because I've had to grow tremendously in order to learn how to coach young women that I've never coached before. I've never coached young women that come from privileged situations. I'm a young lady that came from an underprivileged situation. I coached at McClure South Berkeley, where young women come from an underprivileged situation. So coaching women of a privileged situation is a different nature. And so it required me to go back, do a ton of praying, asking God to give me wisdom on how to coach in this new environment, in this new situation, new strategies, new ways of approaching and coaching, and I've learned a ton, and I've grown a ton, and it's made me dig deeper, and I'm really really grateful for it. It is a humongous challenge. Um, because when people are hungry or not hungry, it's hard to offer them something when you're not hungry. When you're full, you really don't have an
Right,
appetite.
right.
And so you got to figure out how to introduce something to someone that's kind of full. And that's the difference between privilege and not privilege. Not privilege, there's a hunger.
Right.
I'm hungry.
Hmm.
And so there's a drive that exists from underprivileged people. But privileged people don't have too many needs. They have needs, just different types of needs. You understand what I'm saying? So the hunger is not there. So just trying to figure out how to create a hunger, right, for the sport, and how to create a hunger to compete at the highest level for the sport in that environment is it's been a challenge, and I'm enjoying it, and so for me, a challenge is okay. Let's get to it. Let's figure out how to conquer this thing.
So does the team keep you young?
Oh yeah, keep my hair turning gray, man. Keeps my hair turning gray for sure. Uh, yeah, it's like I said, it's a humongous challenge. It's definitely a humongous challenge, but I don't feel like there's anything that's impossible. And so for me,
Mm,
then I'm like, all right, God, then what's the solution?
right.
Yeah.
So, an opposing team comes to your school, or you go out to them. What is a what is the opposing teams? What should they be aware of when they face a team led by you?
Um. Well, I think what people are finding out is that we're growing into a basketball team,
Mm,
and
that's scary
yeah,
because it's coming.
cause it's coming. Yeah, and I think that's what the awareness is starting to happen is we're growing into a basketball team, and so that's what right now they feel like oh it's just gonna be an easy win, but I think a lot of people were shocked when they found out that it wasn't as easy as they thought it was going to
Mm,
be from their previous experience because um, who is this girl? They don't know much about me, but they know that Villa has always been a cakewalk because basketball has
mm,
not been their thing. And so all of a sudden this new girl comes on the scene and wait a minute, they can pass, they're trying to pass and they're trying to cut and they're trying to shoot and they're trying to defend,
right, right. And that's what I would say about my high school and the V. Like right now, years ago, when I well back in 2000 during the time the 2000 year they were pretty good, but then they had a long drought of not having that respect.
Sure.
But thanks to John Albert, which I know you may know about John Albert,
Sounds
he's
familiar.
John Albert the third. He's really very very big into the high school sports scene,
Okay.
and he's the head coach of Bashan,
Okay.
and he actually just won Coach of the Year,
Awesome.
and he has a few ladies on his team
Okay.
that's outstanding, and
Well,
that's get scholarships. He also has a team for the AAU circuit
okay.
and goes to
Okay.
different cities and
Okay.
states and everything, and so the game is really getting more notice, should I say,
Absolutely.
back in St. Louis, but just overall, but definitely at that school. So as you said before, just seeing how other teams can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna walk in and it's a wrap." So with that being said, would you prefer that route of going to a school that needs that boost to change the mentality, or would you prefer, or or would you prefer going to a team that's already established, but you're just adding on to it?
Well, there ain't nothing like building your own.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing like building your own, and that's the nice thing about this situation,
Right,
is that I get to build a house how I want it.
right.
It's just forming a house. You got to form and shape it, and find you some pieces to work within what you have. And so I enjoy that experience. I don't have anything against it, and I've done that, because whenever you go into any situation or any place, it is your brand when you bring it, when you come into that institution, it's your brand of the way you do things. So it really kind of is the same. But when you have some place like a Villa de Chine, who has never really, really been, if you will, a powerhouse in basketball, then you kind of have a wide open field. But the challenge is, again, you got to find the pieces and develop the pieces that you have and create the skill level to give them the confidence to believe that they can compete. And that right there, I think, is where the heartbeat is for me. Because a lot of people would just go out and try to recruit everything that they could find under the sun and bring them in and build a team,
I'll mold it together and then
Right. And so, but taking what you have and building it and shaping it and finding whatever pieces you could find as you go along, there is something to be said. For instance, the parents was saying, "Oh my God, we've never we we're so thankful that you're here. You know, they're really playing basketball. It's fun to watch them now, you know, to hear those things from the parents and, you know, the teachers, you know, and the people in the athletic administration to say that about this team, you know, that I just walked in to be able to start trying to develop that. That was a really a blessing because
Mm-hmm.
they could see, you know, it's a blessing when people can see your work, right? They see your work and then they enjoy your work, and you know, and then they come and they thank you. We're so thankful that you're here, you know, and you've helped my kid. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so at the end of the day, man, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, it's taking a kid to take a kid who thinks that they can't do anything in your sport or the sport. They're just out there for fun. Don't think that they can get anything else out of it or become anything out of it, and to begin to see them. Um, learn the game and begin to play, and the joy is great.
Mm-hmm.
I had a freshman who's just a phenomenal athlete, but never really played basketball, and she scored her first basket at a away game. This kid jumped up in the air with her hands up in the air like Muhammad Ali. It was like, I scored, I scored, I scored. Right? I will never forget that because the joy
Right.
that kid exuberated in that moment
Right.
was just I never seen that before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because you know, playing against your little friends or whatever, that's one thing. But playing in a competition
Exactly.
is a whole nother thing. And then you score, and then you're like, oh my God, I really did that. You know, and so that moment right there, I'll never forget it in my life. But that's the type of joy, you know, when you get to mold and shape, you know, if you will, kind of raw materials and try to build them into a player.
So from the moment that you were refereeing games to the time that now you are the head coach, has there been a shift in trying to make playing basketball at that high school appealing?
Uh, has it been a shift in making it appealing?
Yes.
For me or for the players? Which one?
For the players. Because you
Uh,
may have some that may not take it serious, because like you said, it has been a great tradition in regards to winning. So you may not have that. I want to play. I want to fight hard.
yeah, that they in the season, they begin to develop that. Um, but then it comes and goes because you know, again, you know,
The ebbs and flows of the season.
absolutely. So that's the culture we're trying to develop,
Got you.
right? And so part of that is finding players who have a love for the game, you know, because most of them are playing because their friends are playing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so it's just a social engagement, you know, so to begin to transform the mindset from a social engagement to a competitive team,
Mm-hmm.
that's a work in process.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's a work in
And
progress.
then, as we said at the get go, pretty much you have to want it.
Yeah, absolutely, you have to, and so that's what I said, you know, about finding a way to create a hunger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're competitive. You know, this is one of the top girls' schools in the state of Missouri, not just in St. Louis. So they're competitive. They compete at what they do, right? But to begin to compete because they have a love for the game, you know, and develop that fire is where the challenge lies.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely hope that down the road we can be able to hear that Villa Duchenne is a powerhouse, and you'll be the reason why that change happened.
Well, man, we're working towards it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that some people out there that's got some kids that's uncommitted and loves the game will consider Villa. I know when you go on the website and you look at that tuition price that you freak yourself
okay,
out.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to this school instead. I'm gonna go to this, you know.
But Villa recognized that they need to have more diversity. They also have changed their financial structure in that they have what they call a fit program. So
That's
they
good.
have a tuition that's based upon your financial ability. So it's not just, you know, hey, you got to figure out where you're going to come up with 32,000. No, you know, if you're in a low income, then they have a program that that allows you to pay in that income bracket. You know what I'm saying? So when people are out there looking, don't look at the tuition and think, oh no, we can't afford it. Yeah, no, they've changed their whole structure about how they're going about doing things. And so if you have a kid that's uncommitted, you know, look our way. Look at Villa Descend's way. It's a new program. I'm the head. I'm a D1 coach. I came from a powerhouse
Yes.
college team. I came from a powerhouse high school team. So I'm a competitor at heart. When I compete hard. So I'm gonna train your kid to compete like a tiger. you know.
Last question in regards to the NBA. And you're like, the NBA, Is it just a matter of time that we're going to see a woman be a head coach
Well, you got Becky Hammond, right?
as assistant?
Yeah, but and then you got another. I think there's an African American
Uh-huh.
female that's I don't know, is Oklahoma or somewhere. She's somewhere. I forget where she is.
Now, recently, Nia Ivy, St. Louis's own, she was one of the assistant coaches at Memphis,
Right, but she
but
took the
now she
head
took the
coach
head
at
coach
her
at Notre
alma
Dame.
mater,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just a matter of
Just a
time.
matter of
It's
time.
that well, Becky's already coaching the D League. She was
Right,
already the head coach of the D League, so she's already positioned.
right.
It's just a matter of who's going to take the if they would call it a risk.
Yes.
Uh, I would say who's going to give her the opportunity,
Yeah.
right? It's just a matter of who's willing to give her the opportunity because she's set up under one of the greatest coaches ever
Right.
in
So
the
yeah, she
NBA,
ready.
and so she has been, and looking at and looking at the Last Dance, right? And I didn't know this about Phil, but the general manager set Phil up under the
Yes.
guy that trained the triangle offense and
Texas winners.
Tex, right? And I think he sat there for 2 years, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, was what the
Just
documentary
learning
said,
it
right?
because uh, Jerry Krause wanted Texas winners. I mean, wanted Doug Collins at the time to learn that
And
triangle
he wasn't
offense, and he
having
was
it.
like, "No, because I just want to have Jordan just have the
Right,
ball
right, and
and do
right,
your thing."
right.
But he knew that that wasn't going to be a long term
Not
success.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
So Phil Jackson was like, I'm very intrigued about this offense, and he saw what could happen, and then that's when everything
But he
changed.
sat him up under that man's tutelage for 2 years.
Right,
He trained him on that offense for 2 years.
right.
So you take a Becky Hammond, who's been sitting up under San Antonio Spurs coach for I don't even know how many years it's been
It was
now.
about 5 years plus.
So you can't tell me, right, that this woman who is set up under this man, one
Isn't
of the best,
qualified.
right, is not qualified to become a head coach, and Phil only set up under the old boy Tex for 2 years.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on who's willing to say, hey, I'll go first. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, it's been a great conversation. Your boy Smooth doing this solo tonight, along with special guests.
Misha Morrow.
There we go. Fun time, Coach. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, quick segment. This is called Joe Knows. Every other Wednesday, we have a great friend of mine, coworker of mine. Her name is Joe Bovacanti. Usually talk about hockey and baseball. She's very well knowledge in regards to sports, and I believe now we have her on the line. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Well,
Doing
thank you.
well, doing well. Have you been enjoying this interview with Misha Morrow?
I have been. I like hearing, I like when you have females on the show, just
I wonder
not just
why.
because, well, no, not just because, I'm a female, obviously, and play sports and have a great passion for sports, but it's just nice hearing other stories. Like, I didn't really play basketball at all, but it's still cool hearing about that, and what's still going on. Now she's coaching, so it's cool.
Exactly. And tell her, Joe, what sport did you play back in your heyday?
It was mainly just softball. I was softball from however early you could start playing, probably like kindergarten up until college.
Nice. And what position?
Catcher.
Yeah, I saw some of her photos on her page. I'm like, look at Joe, I know her.
Awesome.
And you recently celebrated a birthday.
Yep, me and the husband did.
Right.
Oh, happy
Now you
birthday.
know that's love because her birthday was what was that this past Saturday, and then his was Sunday.
Yeah, May 16th and May 17th.
Ain't that
Oh,
something?
wow. That's cool.
So
He's
Happy
just a
belated
year older
birthday.
than me.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
yeah. So we'll real quick we'll dive into it. I spoke about it earlier at the beginning of the show about the hockey situation. Looks like they're having issues determining if they want to do the hub or play at the home city. I know one of the biggest issues right now is what's going on in Canada is that they're not allowing players to leave Canada right now.
Mm.
So, what are your thoughts right now on how they? What do you hope to at least bring the game back into the fold?
I'm just hoping we get to see it some way.
Right.
I don't care if we have to watch with no fans and they're playing on a pond. Like, I don't care right now. I just want to watch it. Because playoff hockey's like right there.
Live at Forest Park, we have the Blues facing off against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, like I honestly don't even care right now. Like right now, I'm watching Fox Sports has been doing that classic four game series at Wrigley,
Mm-hmm.
and like the Saturday game's on right now, and it's old. We know everything that's gonna happen,
Right. We need something new.
but I need to watch something. So right now, I just don't really care.
Yeah, just bring it back. Misha, do you watch any hockey at all?
Not really, man. I went to my first hockey game a couple of years ago,
Oh,
and
how was that experience?
oh, it was cool because when they got the jumbotron or the megatron, whatever they call it,
Uh-huh.
and so that was a cool experience. It was their first game, and it was really cool, And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the opportunity to be there. We had pretty good seats and just the atmosphere, of being in the stadium.
It's
And
different.
yeah, it definitely is different, but it was a cool experience. But I don't follow it for real. I'm just a basketball player at heart.
Yeah, I always say for those who have not been to a hockey game, whether it's a Blues game or just any state that has a professional hockey league team, it's a incredible experience. I say it's like going to a huge sports bar.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it really is.
That because the people are so excited. The action is crazy. It's so much
It
different
is.
than watching it on TV.
Yeah,
But I would definitely recommend once things open up and it's safe, there's a cure, and I ain't gonna say go out there, whatever. But once there is a resolution, because it'll happen eventually, we just don't know when.
yeah.
But you have to definitely check out a hockey game.
Yeah, it was a great. I mean,
Yeah, that was
they're skilled. They're fast. They're powerful. They need to put a light on the puck for untrained eyes so we can keep up with it because that puck is moving like a million miles an hour on that ice, right? You're like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? And so, but it was a great experience. So it was a great experience.
No, I'm sorry, Joey.
yeah, it's different watching a hockey game. Like going to watch a hockey game at the arena. I've never been to like a basketball game. I can assume it might be kind of the same, with all the loud music and lights and stuff. But yeah, hockey games is just a different feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sure, yeah, by this time, like you said earlier, Joe, you be getting to the second round of the playoffs. If we didn't have this pandemic, so this is crazy. It's gonna be amazing how if they can get some kind of resolution, they're gonna have time.
It would almost be the finals right now.
Right.
We won on June 12th last year, so I mean,
There we go.
and that went 7 games.
There we go. But I mean, just imagine, just a year ago, we all just having nervous breakdown watching the Blues. So, with that being said, Misha,
Drinking a 12-pack a day.
right, gaining weight, having attitudes out
Yep.
of nowhere. What was your thoughts, Misha, when the Blues won?
It was wonderful. It was a testimony of never giving up,
Right.
right? It's like no matter how long it takes you, right? How hard you struggle, how hard the fight is, how many obstacles you face, right? If you just stick with it and keep going and growing, then anything is possible. That's what that said to me.
And then Joe, I know you probably agree with this, but it's like now that we had that taste, it makes that team better because now they know how it feels and what it takes to get back to that feeling again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You have pretty much everyone that you had on the team last year, except for two guys that, they played a lot, but they didn't really do that much. And then everyone going through that adversity last year. It's all the same people. You got Chief for the full year. And yeah, like you said, you know what it takes now to get there. You have that taste and you just want to do it over and over and over again.
Right. So now let's shift over to baseball. I have a question about your boy, Yadier Molina. I know we talked about him a while back. He's definitely already said that he is willing to play for a different team if the Cardinals don't want to sign him after next season. I don't want to be the main guy, but sometimes you have to because I think the Cardinals organization they're sometimes scared of making bold moves. I'm just gonna say don't fall for the okie doke, meaning don't go out here and give Molina, who's 50 years old, but still playing, still look good. But don't give this guy like a 3-4 year up $10 million. No, you have to have that talk with him and say, hey, we don't want to see you go to no other team because first of all, it wouldn't look right him going to a different team at this stage of his career. He's not going to get the same love and respect as he has as a Cardinal, as Pujols. He is not, he has not felt the same love. But plus, Yachty is much older than Pujols was when Pujols left. Yachty pretty much has maybe a good year or two left if he plays a whole lot of games, which leads to my next point is say, hey, we want to keep you as the Cardinal for life. You're not going anywhere, but you have to commit and not let us know, but you have to agree that you can't play 7 games a week or maybe not even 5 games a week. You have to let the future come in as you go out. Because the same thing that he was when Matheny was getting to that point where it was time for him to go. Matheny, okay, Yachty, I see what you're doing. I see you are the future. So Yachty can't be in his feelings and say, because I'm Yachty, I want to play. You're not 30-year-old Yachty anymore. You're 35, 36-year-old Yachty. In the last few seasons, you have these little knick-knack injuries going on, and that affects your play. So we can't continue to waste young talent by not playing them more. What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, I think we touched on this a little bit 2 weeks ago when I was on last. And earlier in the year, when this was going to be his last year on the contract, I was all for that's it. But now he's not playing. There's not going to be a World Baseball Classic, so he's not going to play in that. He's resting. Like, I get that he's old, but I think the Cardinals are going to do and should do whatever they can to make sure he stays. They're not going to – they'd be stupid to let him walk. So I don't think they'd go, like, outrageous and give him, like, crazy money, but –
they better not.
I think they'd be stupid not to sign him. Like, yeah, there's Kisner, who I love. I've talked about him and raved about him a lot. But you got Ivan Herrera, who's supposed to be better than Kisner, and he's 2-3 years away. So give Yachty another 2 or 3 years. You'll still have Kisner who could play up here because, I mean, Matt Wieters, he needs a starting role anyway. So, like I said, I think they'd be stupid not to sign him and just do what he wants. And they're not, like I said last time, they're not going to spend the money anywhere else. So might as well spend it on something.
Right. Yeah, like I said, he just doesn't need to be playing every, like I said, 5 days a week. Give them other guys.
I think he's, I was just going to say, I think he's, like, starting to realize that a little bit more. Like, I know Yachty's, like, stubborn and wants to be the best. believes that he will be like the best when it's all said and done, which no one's gonna disagree with unless you're like a Cubs fan. But it's just, it's
Keep
just
playing them. Keep playing them.
yeah. But I mean, I just don't give him the crazy money and guaranteeing that he's gonna play 162 games a year. Like I don't think it'd be dumb. I think it'd be dumb not to do it.
Mm. Do you watch any baseball, Misha?
Little. It's baseball is slow on TV to me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I if I watch it, I prefer to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really follow it that much. But of course, the Cardinals was big in St. Louis, so I know just a tad bit.
When last time you been to a game?
Was it last year? I think we went last year.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool
I think we went.
experience.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Even though I'm not a big overall sports fan to a lot of sports, it's always a great experience to go into a different sport and experience that environment
Mm-hmm.
because it's unique to that sport.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like it's unique, and you know that the Cardinals are beloved here at home, and just it's kind of a hometown experience. Where everybody's engaged, involved, and having a good time. So I love going to unique experiences and experiencing those things. And I learn something because every sport has a strategy and the way that they go about doing things, and it's always something that you can learn and glean from, to bring to the sport that you do love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I meant to ask you this earlier, but how much has this pandemic hurt what you're doing with your business for the Archangels verse 3, and then also for Villa de Shen?
Well, basketball is an intimate sport, right? There ain't no way you can play it and not be in somebody's face.
Right.
There ain't gonna be no 6 foot rule in basketball. We're just not gonna play. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for that reason, we can't really get to the court. You know what I'm saying? The ruling has come down in high school that June 15th they're going to open it up a little bit. With the teams and coaches following the guidelines for the local states on social distancing. So for me, that really just looks like skill development. One player at one rim. You know what I'm saying? And we're
Mm-hmm.
working, on skill development for those players. They have to bring their own water bottles. They have to bring their own balls. So there's no, there's not going to be only one-on-one or any team type of play. It's just really going to be skill development play um, until we're past this. And until then, for the sport of basketball, really, there's no way to play it. There's really no way to play it. So team play engagement, I can't see happening really anytime soon, because this thing, it's not just going to blow over like we all wishing and hoping that it is. People are still contracting the virus and dying every day. You know what I'm saying? And then you got this outbreak, this version of it that's now attacking the kids.
Right.
And so kids are now being infected and dying. And so that's a whole new ball game. So it's going to be for basketball. It's going to be a challenge. I don't know if there's going to be any basketball. Certainly we all hoping and praying, but the way I see it, the only options we really have is just skill development because you can't put two players at a rim.
Right.
You can't do that.
Can't
That's
do
not
it.
social distance. That's not a 6 foot. You can't. You only have one player at a rim. So that's all I can see. With basketball, and I know unfortunately there's going to be a lot of people because they're trying to do what they do, and when adults trying to do what they do, they put kids in jeopardy, and it's going to be scary.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be scary, and coaches are going to find themselves if they're not careful, right? They're going to find themselves in litigation,
Right.
and they're gonna find themselves behind bars, and that's scary, And so my prayer is that we really use wisdom. We know everybody's fighting to be good and get good and stay a dominant team, and do all these things that we do, but the life of these kids is the most important thing. And my prayer is that coaches would that they would put the life of the kid above their own agenda, because a lot of times coaches' agenda is greater than the agenda of the kid.
Because their only focus is pretty much winning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so then you sacrifice a kid's life because you want to win. And there should never be sacrificing of a kid for your agenda. Never ever. And but unfortunately, we know that there are a lot of coaches out there that's like that, and they're going to put some kids in some harm's way, and it's going to be some sad outcomes.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's all about skill development. You know, we'll get the team play when we can get the team play.
Right.
But right now, it's just trying to make one kid better at a time. Yeah.
And Joe, shouts out to Bunny. She says all facts, so she definitely agrees with everything that you're saying. It's all about the kids.
It is all about the kids, but yeah, I'm telling you, we're not through this thing.
No, not even. Like I said before, there hasn't even been an answer to what can cure it.
We're not through it, and we got the case of case of anxious,
Being impatient.
and we have come to a place as a society that we are willing to risk lives for dollars,
Right.
and for agendas, and that's unfortunate, and that's an illness in and of itself.
Yes.
And I get it that people don't have incomes, and there are some dire straits, but there ought to be a coming together and doing whatever we need, where everybody's mantra is we're in this together. Well, then we all together need to make sure that people are taken care of, that they're not losing their homes, they're not losing their cars, that they're being fed, that they have an income until we get through this thing. That's what in it together means.
Right.
That's what it means.
Come together.
Not you up here and you're well taken care of, and I'm down here hungry.
I'll see you on the other side.
Right. And you allowing them to take me in and evict me, and not have any way to bring in any income. We're not in this all together. That's a lie.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm gonna put it to you this way: it's for me and my house. We're gonna stay in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna stay in the house. I'm not running out to the mall. I'm not running out to the movies. No,
They're talking about opening up pools and the zoo and everything, but it's like you haven't even solved anything.
And like I said, I get it, I understand it, but I just think life is more valuable than any dollar or agenda that we can put in comparison to it.
And like I said a while back on a post, you can't spend money if you did.
Hey,
if you can't, let me know.
Listen, man. On one of my Facebook posts, a man says, "I've been broke before," and I'm like, brother, I feel you. I've been broke before, but what I ain't been is dead.
Right.
I can't come back from dead. I can come back from being broke, but I can't come back from being dead. Right. Yeah, you can come back from losing your house, losing your car. You're losing your stuff. You can come back from that.
Your boo thing.
You can come back from that, but you can't come back from the grave.
No,
you ain't coming back from the grave. So you can't spend no money where you're going when you leave here. So the money is of no use when you leave this planet. Money will not serve you. So yeah.
Joe, did you want to add on to anything that we just discussed?
No, not really. I agree with everything.
Yeah. It is what's going on right now, but hopefully we can just learn some patience, man. Learn some patience and just respect what's going on and take the proper precautions. Going back into the baseball talk before I let you go, Joe. We talked about earlier. Well, I did in regards to the round table about the hubs. Do you feel it's better to do a hub or every home team play at its home stadium? Of course, with no fans.
It's tough. Like I said about the hockey, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to watch it. There's nothing like watching Cardinals baseball at Busch Stadium. But I mean, if one of those hub things is the only thing we get, then oh well.
Have you seen any other highlights of the Korean League baseball?
No, we tried. I think it was like a week or two ago. We were watching like interviews about it, and I saw it. It literally looks like when you're playing MLB The Show.
Practice
It's
mode.
like those fans, the fans and the fans. That's what it looks
Oh God. Oh. Uh, with this pandemic, we know how bad it is, but how much do you think it can actually benefit a team like the Cardinals when they start playing again?
I mean, with people like Michaelis and Hicks, and the older people like Wayno and Yachty, and
Mm,
even Matt Carpenter, I think it really benefits them. More rest.
mm-hmm.
But for people who might have had like a hot sprain or something, that could throw them off a little bit.
Right. 'Cause I know, yeah, the Austin Gombers who had a great summer, only even summer,
Mhm.
spring training. Kim KK, what's his
Mhm.
first name? I've got his first name. Well, I'd say KK. He came out the gate looking good, and
Yeah.
but he decided to still stay in the states. He didn't go back to his country and and wait till things boil down. He stayed in the states, so that's good. But like you said, a whole lot of rhythm could be thrown off. But just hope that eventually they get to it. What they were saying as of yesterday, I believe, or earlier today, there was like some kind of document that was given stating that what could happen if Major League Baseball comes back. So players can't take showers. Players can't be on the field spitting, on the ground. Can't give out high fives. You're gonna have to social distance in the dugout. Can't have batting cages inside. You know how like in between
Mm-hmm.
that bat you may go
Mm-hmm.
back inside the
Mm-hmm.
dugout and
Mm-hmm.
do the batting cage. They saying all this stuff. It's just gonna be really hard trying to police all that because that's just been such the norm.
Yeah, well, how can you?
Especially like, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, especially like it sounds so stupid and silly, but I know just from playing for pretty much my entire life is like the spitting thing. Okay, like pitchers are constantly licking their fingers, rubbing up the ball, and people are constantly licking their fingers to get a better grip. And then playing in the dirt, spitting sunflower seeds, spitting the all this stuff. Like that's kind of it sounds stupid to say, but that's impossible not to do during a nine
Right,
inning game of baseball.
right,
Now that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. I'm like, they're not spitting for baseball. It's
right.
like not
It's like you
breathing.
can't
Right.
sweat or something.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be challenging. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
don't know how they're gonna do that.
it's
Yeah.
really gonna be amazing when sports are back. How it's gonna change, but we just hope that we get it back eventually. So,
Yeah.
once again, thank you for being part of the
Thank
show,
you.
Misha. We will keep you on, Joe, as we go to our very last subject. So we're gonna wait till next week when I get the fellas back, and we'll discuss the last dance. Last segment is the final say. This is pretty much something that you just want everyone to know from your heart. It can be sports related or not. That you just want to give a message out to the people before we leave.
Uh, Number one, is keep yourself safe. I think that is the best message that we can share at this time is stay safe. Number two is when you go out, protect yourself. Don't be out there like the plague is not still out there. It
Right.
is. Um, as far as me and Villa de Shin, again, if you have a young lady or a girl and who likes the sport and hasn't committed, to one program or another, or you looking for a personal trainer, um, hit me up on Facebook. Would be glad to train your kid and would love to have them become a part of the Villa de Shin program. Again, they will get one of the best educations in the state of Missouri. And you rest assured that I'm going to develop their skills and develop their confidence to be able to compete. And for those that love the game and has a skill and talent for it, then those kids have an opportunity to look at collegiate opportunities, and I'm going to help with that. So um, I'm working on getting the 3-on-3 thing together. We'll be conducting online skill development training, so virtual live trainings will be coming up. That's in process. So look for like us on Facebook, Archangels 33 basketball, and stay tuned for that because those virtual trainings will be coming up, and you can sign up and right in your own home or your backyard, whatever, and we can get basketball skill development work in. So I just want to say thanks a lot, Fred, for having me. It's been a pleasure and grateful for giving me the platform. And just thanking the Lord for the opportunity just to have a shout out.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's definitely been my pleasure having you on the show, and amongst this pandemic that you still came out so everybody can see you, and definitely been a pleasure having you. Joe, did you have any final say?
Just the same as the last couple of weeks. Just everyone keep staying safe. Wash your hands. It's sad we have to say that, and then from deep down in my heart, I truly miss sports.
Man,
And that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna say, I left a post after our show last week, just talking about supporting each other. It doesn't matter if it's someone on your level, someone better than you, etc. Just support. This is the time that we, like I said before, that we need to come together and support each other
Oh yeah.
more. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Support these businesses going on because so many people are suffering through what's going on.
Yeah.
And at the same time, use this opportunity to figure out things in life. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Find different avenues, as you said before. Don't limit yourself just to one thing.
Yeah.
So support, reach out to people, and show love through these times. And also at the same time, figure out some things. What can you do differently
Yep.
during these times? Because you have a lot more time than you had in the past.
Become
So
a better you.
there's no excuse, like you said, to be a better you.
Become a better you.
There we go. So that is our show. Next week, we will have Coach Carl Reed Jr., head coach from Lutheran North High School football team, Class 2, 2019 champions. They have a lot of great recruits that one big recruit, I think, is Travion Ford, going to Mizzou, but it's one of the hotbeds in St. Louis, in Missouri, and he will be on our show next week. So hope to see everyone tune in next week on YouTube. Subscribe, click on that bell on Facebook, share the platform Sports Talk Show on Twitter, like and retweet, and then on Instagram, give us a follow at the platform Sports Talk. I am your boy Smooth. On the phone we have
Showboat.
Joe Bo and special guest.
Misha Morrow.
When it's about sports, it becomes our business, and business is picking up a little bit, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Y'all be easy. We out.